This week, we're going to talk about how to turn an idea into a film. Let's get started. Okay, how do we turn an idea into a film? First, we've got to understand if the idea is a film. Let's look at that. Is the idea something that can only be told once? So it is a one-off story. Luke blows up the Death Star. If it's something that can be explored lots and lots of times over and over and over again, that's going to be a TV series. So the Star Wars universe, if your first story was about the universe, not about Luke blowing up the Death Star, if it wasn't told strictly through Luke's eyes, it would be a TV series. So a film is a story that can be told once. So consider that. Are we telling a one-off story, or are we telling something that has many stories involved in it? Now, we also have got the idea of a limited series. That could be a story which has many aspects to it, can be told from many people's point of view. That is a larger story, like Chernobyl. You could have done Chernobyl as a film if it was just from the story of Stellan Skarsgård's character. If it had been just focused on him, if it had been focused just on Stellan Skarsgård. But there was lots of people, lots of aspects of it, the cleanup, the failure of the power plant originally. So there's lots of aspects to Chernobyl. So it became a limited series. So let's say we're going to do, it's a film. So we've got this idea for a one-off story. Let's choose a protagonist. A young woman. Okay, a young woman lives in a village and her village is dying off. So the idea is, what would you do to save your village and your family? What would you do? That's the question we're going to explore in this quick exercise. What would you do or what is she going to do to save her family? So why her? This is the first we should look at the story. Why are we choosing her as a protagonist? And we'll make it olden times, in some mystical 15th, 16th century type, somewhere in Europe, type town. So why is she, or in the early Americas, why is she the protagonist? Why is she going to be the one that's going to save the town? So the father is in a position where he's incapable of saving the family. And the mother doesn't have the traditional role of being the person that's going to save the family. So let's say the crops have failed, there's no water, the river has stopped flowing. So the whole town has dying off. Crops haven't been around for 2 years. People are deciding to move away. And dad's too sick to travel, he's dying, so he's sending his daughters away. He's saying, you go with the rest of the town to the new town. This land, it's no good. And mother's deciding to stay with her husband and she'll catch up later on, which means maybe she's staying to die as well. But that's the thing. So the town's migrating away. It's moving. It's a dying town. The daughter decides, well, if the water came back, we wouldn't have to go. So she's going to go find why the water has stopped. So this is her let's go moment. So she's going to travel. Her sister will go with her because her sister doesn't want to travel with strangers, and maybe she doesn't want her sister to go. We'll figure that out. So she's traveling up to the source of the river. She'll take someone with her, a friend, maybe a warrior type person, or an older person, and they travel off. But the family thinks she's gone with the migrating family, migrating village. So we've got her traveling up river. So we're going to have to say why the river stopped. So upriver there's a dam. Okay, someone's built a dam and that stopped the river from flowing enough to keep their village going. So she's going to have to go up there and get the water flowing again. So traditionally, as we would normally see with a movie, she's going to have obstacles put towards her that's going to force her to go back. And she's going to want to keep going forward. So she's got that blindness, that focus, that she doesn't matter how much problem she's in. And there is the point of no return where you're doing something and you get to a point in your life where It's easier to keep going forward than it is to go back. If you go back, you're closer to you believe you're closer to the end than you are to the start of your endeavor. And there's also the whole idea of a sunk cost fallacy, where you'll keep putting things into something just because you've put a lot into it in the past. So she's probably got a bit of both going. She's got a sunk cost fallacy. People are saying to her, we should just go, we can still catch up to the village. And she's, no, I'm going to get this water, I'm going to save my family. There's all this land, we can keep going. I grew up here, I don't want to go to a new village. This is her flaw. She can't break away from her old village, even though she's breaking away from her village and she doesn't realize it, to go on this bit of a quest to find the dam. We can put a few things in there, maybe have her sister become a problem wanting to go back. So now there's tension between her sister becomes the voice of old logic. They have a few things, but around and you can't have too much of this. You can't have a lot of the same beat. So it becomes a bit like a video game, wild animals escape wild animals, more wild animals escape wild animals, oh, leg snare, oh, an injury, someone gets hurt, more. So if they're just constantly going through these dramas in a forest, in a forest, in a forest, in a forest, it becomes a bit boring. It becomes like watching somebody else play a video game. There's no real fun in that. So we need to get, once we begin to get, let's say it's a 90-minute film or a 2-hour film, after about an hour of the 25 minutes of setup, finding the village, getting the village to leave, all that drama, the family drama, and she breaks away and she heads off, maybe a stupid decision. So we've got now maybe another 45 minutes of drama in the forest. So 30, 25 minutes, 45 minutes, we're about halfway through the film. Now we should change the pace of this thing. So we get to the dam, or we begin to find people that know of the dam. So now we need to define the dam. So the dam was built by some people, and it's also killing off this other village which is closer to the dam. They're going to mount a war. A war has been lost. They're going to start like a guerrilla action against the people that have built the dam. So this makes sense. So now she's got an opportunity to destroy the dam. She's now got a new goal. She's discovered what is stopping the water. It's a dam. So now she's going to destroy the dam. So we've evolved her goal. She decides to team up with these people, but not even during the battle, but in the lead up to the battle, she realizes that the war has already been waged once. The battle has already been, and the people that have built the dam are actually the good guys. The people that she's sided with are actually quite evil and quite horrible. And we'll make them the typical bad guy where they slaughter, babies, and they want to take over the dam. And if they get hold of the dam, they're going to be even more tyrannical than the people who form the dam for good purposes, to, build a bigger town, to secure water for their village and their crops and stuff. They didn't realize they were impacting people 150, 200 miles away downstream. They were securing their own life. They have a bigger population. They have everything which she might find good. But she has to maybe damage the good guys to help her people. So now we've got this little bit of a dilemma going into like the third act. We're going to start winding up the story soon. Where does she side with bad guys to get her goal against good people? Is she willing to damage good people and make a situation worse so she gets a smaller outcome down here? So since we're going to have this dilemma now, we'll have to go back during a rewrite, and there's always writing. We'll have to go back and put that in somewhere where she's got a very good moral compass, and now we're going to be challenging that moral compass drastically. I can't think of the outcome for this. I'd have to write it. So maybe she helps the really big village, the good people in the end. She undermines the people that she's teamed with, which is also betrayal, which goes against her moral compass. But so she's doing the moral neutrality thing, where she's doing something bad to justify against something good, and also paying off for herself. And maybe in that, she manages to secure some water from the dam to feed the river, to keep her village going. Or she goes back, finds her people, and relocates them to this bigger town. But you can see how the basic idea, if you just keep throwing things onto it, you can begin to build a structure. You have a person, what would they do? What would they do to save their family was the initial question. Well, we have to put the family in a terrible situation. So we put them into where they have to leave. Dad's dying. Mum's willing to die with Dad. The village has been decimated. The daughters have to go away. Mega low point in her life. So what would she do to save her dad, to save the family, to save the village? She has to do something drastic. So what's caused that? So now people only, I've always said this, people only react to suffering, jealousy, or dissatisfaction. Well, she's suffering. She's got, everyone's dying of thirst, the village is going, that's her suffering. She has to now act. She has to take a big step to alleviate that. She's going to go find why the water has stopped. So as a young lady, she's going on this massive adventure. We throw things at her. And this, of course, people change with adversity, a bit like The Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings. In the Lord of the Rings, they travel off, they do this adventure. And when they come back to their own village, it seems small. And they're bigger, I think, because they've been eating the food of men. And the whole world, the village that used to satisfy them now seems quaint. Maybe this is her too. She comes back, she secures some water, she sees her family, and she sees her village for what it was. Now that she's gone through an adventure and seen this big city, she manages to secure the village, but still goes back to the city and says, look, the people in the city are going to buy produce off you. It's okay, you can come back, but I'm not staying here. I can't stay here. Now that I've seen the world, I can't stay. I think that's how we could wrap this up. So you can see with an idea, give them a dilemma, push them out the door. So you see how we can end a film or build a film from what we had. We let it build out, we start throwing dilemmas at people, and we change the dilemma, and we change their goal as they evolve. They begin to see new things, they evolve in their learning, they evolve in what they need, their needs change. As a person becomes more exposed to things, their wants and needs will change. So we've done this to her as well, but she still went back and satisfied her initial goal. She saved the village. Thank you for everyone who's been doing this. It's fantastic. I've missed a few videos, which I'm sorry, but we're going to get back to our regular weekly thing. And until next time, guys, keep writing.